All I got is missed calls on my line, yeah. Never seen a pick up right on time, yeah. If I don't call back, leave me alone. Please leave a message.
What's up, guys? Welcome into episode 133 of the Missed Call Podcast. This is Cubwood, and as always, I'm here with special guest, or is he my co-host, Sauce Sartori, questioning what is his position for this podcast. Big show. I know you're like, oh, do they still do this thing? Cubs got that new podcast. Like, did they break up? No, we're still in this. We got Thick Athletes Month coming up in 2 weeks. We got things to do. Sauce, please stop looking so perplexed.
I'm trying to figure out why. What? I'm your co-host. I've always been your co-host. What?
Hold on. Let me jot that down.
Okay. We're back. That's the important part. We're back. We are better than ever, but we're here and we're very excited to.
We don't need to lie now. We don't need to lie.
Thing again. Cub.
Yeah.
On top of this podcast, you've already mentioned you have started a new one, the Women in Sports podcast, which you're doing by yourself as part of your internship with the Believe Podcast Network.
Yes, sir. That's basically it. You summed it up.
Okay, but obviously the title. Now, hear me out. The title is kind of self-explanatory, but explain what you're doing.
So basically, obviously the title speaks for itself. It's Women in Sports only. Even in the trailer, I was like, it's going to be no dudes, just me. And then I giggled because it's funny. Yeah, I'm just going to be interviewing women in sports once a week. I've already entered our good friends, Kamalani Dung, Jenna Gray, St. Clair Miramontes. Tomorrow I'm interviewing my friend Jess Lasso, who plays soccer at DePaul. After that, I'm going to be interviewing Morgan Howe from Athletes Unlimited. And then after that, the list just is a black hole of opportunities. We could be
endless.
I could literally go anywhere I want.
Right. Exactly. Very cool stuff. And people can find that where?
You can find it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Literally just type in Women in Sports and then look for a black and white cover art. It should say Women in Sports.
We will find a link and we'll make sure that anybody interested has access to that link so that they can access the Women in Sports podcast. On top of that, let's also note that you can follow our podcast, the Missed Call Podcast, at Call Podcast on all social media. On YouTube, you can find it, The Missed Call Podcast, and you can watch us do our thing. Or you can just listen to us on Spotify and Apple Music. But let's jump into the show. A big one because we've got a lot to cover, actually. Cub, let's start with the best things that we saw this week. And I think that we can – well, I might be a little biased, but I think that we can agree that one of the best phrases in sports is pitchers and catchers report to spring training.
Oh, I thought you were going to let me go first. But yes, baseball is back. Baseball is back. If you'd liked what I posted on our Instagram, cool, because baseball is back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton to say about it, but it's definitely the best part about my week. If you listen to the podcast religiously, you know baseball is my shit, and I'm beyond excited for this year because there's so much to be excited for. You look at the rivalry out west with the Dodgers and the Padres. You look at some of the up-and-coming teams this year, like the Blue Jays. I'm actually excited to see what the Marlins can do, going from being a playoff team last year to now what can they be. And some teams in transition as well. I think of the Cubs, the Astros, and others as well. I'm just so pumped for this year, dude.
Maybe this could be a goal for us by the end of the year, but we can't go out of our way to do this, Sauce. That would be cheating, and you can't go out of your way, you little rabbit hole of baseball reference. At the end of the baseball year, at the end of the baseball season, we have to be able to name 5 players from the Marlins.
Okay. Can I start?
You can't watch any games, though.
I haven't watched any, but I think I could get at least 4.
Okay, well, those players don't count anymore, so don't say them because I can use them.
Okay. All right.
Don
We
Mattingly,
will.
we got one.
We'll leave it there, and by the end of the season, or sometime here in the near future, we will have at least 5 players that we can name
We can only
from
use social
the
media.
Miami
Like,
Marlins.
You can't watch any Miami Marlins games. It's got to be all social media, and you have to come across it. So just pray and hope that we come across 5 Miami Marlins players.
I don't know what the schedule looks like, but let's do it this way. By the first time the Marlins visit Chicago, by the first time a Chicago team goes to Miami, we have to have established 5 players, not managers or coaches, 5 players on the roster.
All right.
Perfect. Okay.
You know what we should do? This is stupid, but we should buy Miami Marlins jerseys, but like they're blank on the back, and go to games and be like, they're my favorite team. Like, who's your favorite player? Check the back because I don't even know.
That's not an awful idea. That's fine. I have a Marlins jersey, but it's a Gary Sheffield Marlins jersey.
We'll just cover up with tape.
Black tape. Got it. Okay. But that's far and away the best thing that I saw this week, heard this week, is pitchers and catchers are reporting to spring training.
Chicago Bears fans, we can rejoice. Carson Wentz is most likely not coming to Chicago. I read it.
Right.
Hopefully what I read is very accurate. Also, this one came up probably 4 hours ago that I read. It had, listen to this, buckle your seatbelt, Sauce. It had Ben Roethlisberger coming to Chicago.
Yeah, no, I'm cool. I'm cool without that.
I'm good with that. Hopefully Carson Wentz is going to Indianapolis because that's kind of where he wants to go, I heard. But hey, he's not coming to Chicago where you didn't put your mic on, did you?
Okay, keep going.
And Chicago's not giving up a first-round pick to a guy who lost his starting position to a second-round pick. So, feeling good, feeling great. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? How about we get some offensive linemen?
Right. Just in time for Thick Athletes Month, let's get some thick athletes going on this day.
Maybe that sounds a little bit better now that I have my microphone.
That echo is just exquisite.
Is it? I feel like it's better now, or is it worse?
I don't know. We'll ask the listeners.
Maybe I should just hold the microphone like this the entire show.
You can hear the tapping. Now I got to edit that out. You know what's grinding?
Okay, microphone's plugged in.
Before I get to grinding my gears, that noise is grinding my gears. Don't do that again. Sauce, what's grinding your gears?
What is grinding my gears? Oh, okay. This is something that I've put some thought into. And if maybe you've heard about the situation surrounding Duke's Jalen Johnson, who has decided to opt out of the rest of the men's basketball season. Now, to me, knee-jerk reaction, oh, he's a college kid on a struggling team, but a really, really good program, and he's going to get drafted. He's saving himself for the draft. We've seen this in college football plenty of times before, and it makes sense, right? If you have the opportunity to go make millions, and if by some chance you get injured and you lose out on millions of dollars, that's not a smart decision. So knee-jerk reaction to me, I'm like, oh, he's just making a business decision for his future. But what the media is doing instead is they're taking the decision of this young kid. I believe Jalen Johnson's 18 or 19 years old, maybe even younger than that.
He's a freshman.
Right. And they're saying he quit on Duke. He quit on this team. And that is so aggravating.
You know what my knee-jerk reaction is? And I know this isn't good for someone who has members of the media. Who cares? Who cares? How about we look at what this year is? Just because Duke's doing horrible, so is Kentucky, so is North Carolina. The season is flipped. It's upside down. The college basketball is on its fucking head. Who gives a shit? COVID, he hasn't seen any of his family. He can't see his family. He's locked up in his room. He can only see his teammates. Cool. You know what? Sometimes I kind of wish I was a college athlete right now because I'd see people that I like seeing. Family is a lot. You're in school. You're not in school. You're in, well, I don't know what it's like over there in Duke. It's the South. That's a whole other story.
Praying for the South right now as they're dealing with
Praying
snow
for their
for the first
maskless
time
faces.
ever. We'll get to that.
Just, I'm viewing this how I would view if I was playing basketball right now. Just say I play for DePaul. I would quit if I was going to get drafted. I would quit. Whatever. I would call it quits for the year because I can't see anybody because there's nothing I can do besides go to practice, sit in my room all day, and play games.
Right. And I do think that there is an aspect to this of being an 18-year-old and thinking, and like, man, this sucks. And from what I've understood, for a lot of athletes, this whole quarantine and staying away from home is detrimental to mental health. I think just basic common sense can tell you, like, that can be really hard on somebody's mental health, right? So I'm sure there's an aspect to that of it, but I'm also positive the majority of this decision is being made because the team's not good. The team's not going to compete for a championship this year. So what's the point of Jalen Johnson continuing, possibly injuring himself, possibly decreasing his draft stock and losing himself millions? In a way, he's creating some mystique around his draft, where he can be drafted, right? His draft capital.
He's projected to go 14th through the Grizzlies. So he's a top 15 player. That's still
right.
Good. It's still good. The thing is,
but imagine he plays and down the stretch he loses the touch on his three-point shot, or he loses, something mid-range, like his jumper. His jumper isn't as good as it was down the stretch, right? And people are like, oh man, like that we don't like that anymore. Instead of being a 14th overall pick, he goes to being a 25th overall pick or a 20th overall pick. That's still losing him millions of dollars. This is the correct move for somebody. I mean, there was criticism for Jadeveon Clowney if you think back to when he was entering the draft.
He played in the bowl game. Don't say it. You said it the other day. He played in the bowl game. Remember when he sacked the guy from Michigan? Remember when he tackled the guy from Michigan and pulled the ball? That was a bowl game. That was the
But he didn't play the season, did he? I don't think he played during that season.
I think you're thinking of somebody else, but Jadeveon Clowney definitely played in a bowl game because he was in the Outback Bowl, South Carolina, the Cox.
I think that was his freshman year. I'll have to look into it and I'll correct it. But
drafted. He's in the same draft class, I'm pretty sure, as what is it, Denard Robinson, who never tied his shoes. There's the same Michigan team.
Regardless, there have been situations of guys sitting out because they don't want to negatively affect their draft stock, right? And this is just what that is. He didn't quit on the team. He's making a decision for his future, which, like, we always, like, I have to come back to the point. He's fucking 18 years old.
Dude, there's a five.
And he's making some of the most difficult decisions of his life right now, and we're going to tell him he's a quitter? Like, it's super weird to do that to, like, an 18, 19-year-old.
I was going to say there's a fine line between he's quitting on the team and then he's doing what's best for him. Like, quitting on the team, I was trying to think of a good example while you were talking. Quitting on the team would be like you're going to the championship and you're a starter and you just said, oh, I'm going to get ready for the draft. That would be quitting on your team. You're in the Final Four. Oh, no, I'm good.
Exactly.
I'm out.
That's what's grinding my gears, is the way the media just so openly tears apart college athletes, especially the young ones, the freshmen and sophomores that don't have any sort of direction in life or decision-making skills yet. That's what's on my nerves.
What's grinding my gears, this happened a few weeks ago to me. This was when it was in the negatives. It was chilling at -10, whatever, here in Chicago. I was out with the boys drinking all day, and it was in Wrigleyville, so that's a mile away from my house. So it's
subtle flex.
Yeah, it's clearly like a -10 degrees outside. I'm going to McDonald's, before I go home, getting my McDonald's, got my Coke, got my McGangbang and nuggets, and I check Uber to see how much it would cost to get home, to get a mile. How much do you think that Uber ride would have been, Sauce?
A mile?
A mile, and it's 11:30.
Less than $10.
$21. It would have been 6 or 5 if we were in normalcy. $21. So you know what my drunk ass did, Sauce?
Walked home.
I booked it. I have a bomber jacket and a hoodie on. Put the food in this and zipped it up, and I had the Coke and I started jogging in the streets. So, and then I got to the home stretch. I can't feel my fingers, so I put my Coke in my bomber jacket pocket.
Oh no!
Put it in my bomber jacket. I get 2 strides in, flip off the cap, and the Coke goes everywhere. I was so cold, I just chucked it to the side and started booking it. Let me tell you, the food tasted like it sat out for 30 minutes.
Really?
It was so cold.
Dude, I did something similar recently, and there's like an on-campus Starbucks here at North Central, which is like the whitest thing ever. Like, hey, private school in Naperville, we have an on-campus Starbucks.
Ugg boots and Starbucks cups.
Yeah, so I went and got a coffee the other day, and I'm walking down the main path we call the Spine here on campus, and I turn a corner, and as I turn the corner, I feel the coffee part of the drink dislodge.
It was the Jonah Hill. It was the Jonah Hill.
Yes, I felt the coffee part dislodge from the cap, and I never broke stride. I just watched it fall to the ground, and I threw the cap in the air, and I kept walking. I never looked back. But it's at a certain point when it's cold out, you just are like, fuck it, we ride.
I'm trying to find
there's no time for tears when it's that cold out. Yeah, and does his coffee fall out of his hand at that point? Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
So it's getting back to what's grinding my gears. Why the hell do Uber prices have to be that goddamn much? People are still Ubering. Like, listen, like now, if I'm with my friends, I have to get an Uber XL if it's 3 people if it's 4 people because you can't sit in the front. So I got to pay more because I have 4 people when the car fits 5 because of the driver, obviously. But everyone has to be in the back. So if I'm already paying more.
See, that's a plight that I would never understand. You know what I mean? Like that's something that that is a problem that you have that I would never understand because very rarely do I take Ubers. But when I do, I have a 5-star rating on Uber as a rider.
As this humble flex guy. But
fuck with your boy.
Let me give you an example. Like Lincoln Park, that would be 2 miles away from any point of where I've lived. Uber would have been $10.
Right.
If I'm out on a weekend.
Makes sense.
$30.
No.
You're telling me I pay 30 freaking dollars plus tip?
Would a taxi be cheaper, like a regular old taxi?
Lyft and Uber fluctuate. Sometimes Lyft is a lot cheaper, and then sometimes Uber is a lot cheaper. So you have to check both.
But what about just a regular taxi that you flag down with your hand?
You're only going to see those downtown. You're not going to see those on Lincoln Avenue.
Could you call one? Could you be like, hey, buddy, come get me?
And he's just like chilling at a donut shop. Oh, yeah, I'll be over in a minute.
Yeah. Thoughts and prayers to your wallet during this winter time for Uber prices and such. Moving on, though.
Prayers, you're already there.
Well, hold on. Well, I guess we could do that, or I could do the Chicago Sports Dick Kick of the Week, which is actually an upbeat note because I think Barstool Carl said it perfectly. Because this was a couple nights ago, but the Bulls won, and it seems like they've finally found their stride. The Cubs have signed Jake Arrieta, and this morning, they actually announced the signings of Brandon Workman, the relief pitcher, and Pedro Strop is coming back on a minor league deal. So hats to the left for Pedro Strop. What are you talking about? It's to the left.
It barely moved.
You can't do it too much, or else it's not. Hats to the left. Adam Eaton is a Chicago White Sox again. The Hawks are in second place in their division in terms of points. They haven't traded for Carson Wentz yet, which we've mentioned already. And, obviously there's snow and such on the ground, but that's not part of sports. So there is no Chicago sports dick kick of the week. There's only good things right now, which I'm sure is going to change very quickly.
Thoughts and prayers. Speaking of baseball, thoughts and prayers go out to the Yankees' number one prospect, Jason Dominguez, who's number 32 overall prospect. The New York Post came out with an article saying he's more advanced than Mike Trout was at 18. Jason Dominguez, who just recently turned 18 years old, is being compared to Bo Jackson, Mickey Mantle, and Mike Trout. And Sauce, I'm excited for the kid. He's got great size. He's got hella power. But let me just tell you something. Can we let the kid play one freaking minor league game? I've only seen him do BP.
Yeah.
Anytime. Every time I see him, I just quote, I'm worried this is all I'm ever going to see of Jason Dominguez. I'm worried this is all I'm ever going to see of Jason Dominguez.
Anytime you start comparing people to the greatest players to ever play their respective sport.
The greatest athlete of all time, Bo Jackson?
You're most likely overselling the product. There should never be a situation where you are telling people this person will be the next Mike Trout, will be the next Michael Jordan, would be the next Wayne Gretzky, etc. There should never be that comparison, because most likely that person's not going to meet those standards, and he's 18 years old. We've already talked about how the psyche of an 18-year-old works. If you tell him he's going to be like Mike Trout, he's constantly going to be trying to work to be Mike Trout instead of just being Jason Dominguez.
He's ranked higher in the prospects list than Arozarena.
Well, Arozarena really shouldn't be a prospect. And he wasn't necessarily...
I saw it and I was like, what?
He wasn't necessarily a highly touted prospect either. Just a guy who happened to catch fire at the right time. But yeah, so thoughts and prayers go to Jason Dominguez and now his baseball future, because fuck, man, that's high praise to live up to. My thoughts and prayers of the week go out to the wife of the silversmith who made the Lombardi Trophy. Because
rocks, lady.
Yeah, well, we all saw how much fun Tom Terrific was having during the Super Bowl boat parade with all of his teammates. And there was a video that came out of Tom Brady taking the Lombardi Trophy and throwing it from the back of a boat to the front of another boat. It was a completion. Both feet were in bounds. There was a football move, all that good stuff. But the wife of the silversmith that made the Lombardi Trophy is adamantly requesting an apology from Tom Brady because throwing the Lombardi Trophy is advertently disrespectful to the work that her husband and other silversmiths put into making the Lombardi Trophy.
What's her name? Do you have her name?
We can go with Karen.
Trophy Karen. Trophy Karen.
Trophy Karen.
Trophy Karen, where were you when Gronk dented the trophy by bunting it? Where the hell were you?
Her name is Lorraine Groves.
Karen Lorraine, where the hell were you when Gronk dented the trophy when he bunted it and it hit a baseball?
Well, maybe Tom throwing the Lombardi Trophy after the horrors of the dented Lombardi Trophy last year, maybe this is what sent her over the edge. She's like, I can't take it anymore. I must say something.
She said she hasn't slept in 2 days.
I was just about to say that. How fucking insane.
Lady,
get out.
Fucked.
Get out. Yeah, get fucked is right.
Get fucked. What is Tom supposed to say? What do you want him to say? Sorry?
I'm sorry I threw the Lombardi Trophy that I won.
Sorry I had too much cucumber tequila and I chucked
avocado.
it boat. Avocado tequila.
Nothing to see here. Just chugging Karen avocado tequila.
Karen Lorraine, kick rocks.
Moment of silence for the thoughts and prayers. Now moving on to Struggle Bus Fake Taxi, one of our favorite segments.
You goof ass.
Oh, I did? It's because we went out of order of what's on the
Guy
dock.
can't
But
go down to go back up. Guy doesn't work like that.
Nope. Never mind. I won't go there.
He was gonna say something.
Random thought. So this came to me earlier. What's something that as a kid you were certain was going to be a huge part or a huge problem in your adult life, but now that you're an adult, you realize it doesn't matter at all?
You texted me this at like 10 o'clock, and you saw what I texted you, because I was like, God damn, I don't have anything. So on my way to the gym, I called my mom, and I'm like, hey, does anything ring a bell here? She didn't really have anything, and then I was really thinking, well, and then she's like, well, call your dad. And I'm like, oh, yeah, he'll give you something. So I called Phil, and I got yelled at because he was busy at work. So, sorry, Phil. My initial thought, I would have to go like cards, like baseball, Pokemon, or as parents would, or dads would say, Pokemon cards.
Yeah, my dad would say Pokemons.
Pokemon's better. Pokemon sounds so good for no reason. Pokemon. Quick side note: isn't it weird how Digimon never had cards? Like no one ever had Digimon cards.
Yeah.
Digimon, the characters talked.
Well, technically, so did Pokemon, but they just repeated themselves incessantly, right? And what's really messed up is I can't even remember the names of the Digimon. But I remember as a kid, I fucked heavy with the Digimon.
Digimon, digital monsters.
Yes, yeah, especially the little mouse-looking one with big wings that somehow flew. I never understood that one.
I gotta look up their names now while you do yours.
Anime. But okay, so my answer to this question is much filthier than your answer to this question, Cobb. And it is the legend of the blue waffle disease. I was adamant as a kid. I was certain when I grew up, I was going to be dodging blue waffle left and right.
Can I tell you something? I think I deleted it. I had a post on my Instagram back in like sophomore year of high school. And I was like, look, my favorite thing to eat for breakfast. And it was like an actual blue waffle. And I thought people would find it funny, and like no one got the joke. Dude, look at these names. Hold on. Look at these names for Digimon. This is basically like the Charmander of their world. Agumon.
Agumon, that was a good one.
They all end in O-N. What the hell? They all end in O-N.
I would assume they all end in M-O-N. Because they're Digimon.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Gatomon, Patamon, Wargreymon, Greymon, Gumon, Angamon. And then there's Matt.
Draymond.
Oh. Stop. You're not supposed to bring up his past.
But yeah, dude, that like so I remember as a kid in like, you know, because where all the real talk went down was in gym class. I can remember in gym class like sitting there with my buddies and being like, fuck boys, how are we going to deal with this later on in our lives? Like blue waffle's really going to affect everything that we do. It was that, and it was drugs. Like I was raised with the DARE program and shit like that, and I was so certain that like everybody when I was adult was going to be like, do you want drugs? Because I can give you drugs.
They were doing the DARE stuff, were you ever like, well, what does a drug look like? Like, so how am I supposed to be like? Because like, remember like during Halloween, they're like, oh, they give them out. They look like M&Ms, and then they show it's a pill. I'm like, I know the difference between an M&M and an Advil.
Certainly, you and I, as children, knew what candy looked like.
Hey, I wasn't fat till high school.
But yeah, that was the answer for me. Like I was thinking about that, and I was like, yeah, it doesn't affect anything that I do.
I do recall them like showing the pills, and it's like, if you see this, don't take it. I'm like, well, that's just an Advil.
Do you still remember?
That's an Alka-Seltzer.
Do you still remember the DARE theme song?
There was a theme song?
I won't do drugs, A won't have an attitude, or I will respect myself. E, I will educate me now. Fuck yeah, dude. And then we all got our shirts signed.
I'm gonna head out. I don't remember that. I don't remember that. I remember Smokey the Bear had a hell of a theme song. I remember that.
I don't remember that one. You want to sing that one?
I don't remember it either. I just know it slaps.
All right, Struggle Bus, Fake Taxi. I think Struggle Bus for me has to be the southern states of America.
Yo, someone took a video of their Texas house, and like all the insulation was all over in the water. And someone goes, "That's how you guys are paying for those cheap houses. It's just fucking styrofoam."
Okay, so let me begin by saying I know that there are some people in the southern states that are actually negatively being affected because of shoddy housing, because of no housing, right? Like Joel Osteen finally did something for the city of Houston and is housing people who are homeless. I'm sorry. The PC term is unhoused. He's housing people whom are unhoused in his mega church.
Same Joel Osteen who wouldn't allow people to live in his or stay in his mega church back in the day when they during the hurricane in Houston or whatever.
That's the one.
Joel, I still hate your guts.
Yeah, well, he's at least doing something this time around, likely because it requires much less effort to house people for a couple of days while it's cold versus a couple of weeks while they get their affairs in order. But
I hope God sees this, Joel. I hope
the Struggle Bus, because dude, like literally, I've said this a couple times, I think just talking to Nikki, and I'm like, okay, I take a certain pride in being from the Midwest, being from the North, and being able to survive in this type of shit. Like 2 feet of snow on the ground, it's negative 10 degrees for a week straight, and it's like we just move forward, right? Like we keep doing it. Versus like Texas sees 5 degrees and they're like, oh my God, I think is this the apocalypse? Is this where we die? And like I saw somebody like scraping off their windshield with a spatula, and like it's insane to me. It's insane to me. Like I'm sure certain people in Texas have never been farther north than where they live in Texas, and this is the first time they're dealing with something like this.
It's like putting a bear that's been in captivity at a zoo its whole life, and they're like, oh, we'll let it go when it's 25, and it doesn't know what to do but sit by a tree. You know what I mean? It doesn't know how to adapt to the wild. It's never experienced it. It's never experienced
I think I get what you're saying. But yeah, it's just it is kind of funny to me that like it's like an apocalypse for these people, but this is just a normal day for us up here in the
like
north.
How many people lost
power?
How?
And they shut down schools, and
it's colder up here. How?
There were people that were ransacking Walmarts and shit like that, trying to stock up on food. It's like
it's not
Jesus.
Not a cold coronavirus.
So Struggle Bus goes to the south, and I would say probably specific Texas because everything's bigger in Texas. I don't know. So bigger Struggle Bus in Texas.
Little do they know Alaska is 3 times as big. Those are facts. Struggle Bus for me. Let me tell you something. This one's for the haters. Sauce. Come June.
Okay.
Come June. Yours truly will have 2 degrees. He will have his bachelor's, and he'll have his master's.
You'll have more degrees than Texas.
I'll have more degrees than my friend Glenn has nuts. He's only got 1.
See, did he have cancer? Was he born without one?
He just said it one day, and I almost peed my pants because I thought he was lying.
I have a buddy who has 1 nut too, but he lost it because of cancer. So I don't know if we can. I can laugh at that, but you can't.
He said he named the ball Richard Balling.
Richard Ballin. Okay, Dick Ballin. I like it.
So yeah, the haters, because we'll just throw out a date real quick. 2016. Who the hell would have thought I would have 2 degrees? I didn't even think I'd have 1.
Not me.
Wait, definitely not my high school teachers. They were no help. So guess what? Get fucked.
Get fucked. That might be the name of the episode. Get fucked. I think we've said that a couple
make it
times.
It's such
All right.
a good phrase. It is such a good phrase.
Fake taxi. Let's get into it. Cub, I'll let you take the lead here
Oh, I forgot. What I
as we get fucked in the fake taxi.
Oh, we have to start with our honorary fake taxi member of the week. It is the woman, the picture of the woman in the taxi that went viral this week. And I think she was completely lost on if she was in the correct Uber taxi, whatever she was supposed to be in, because the back of the car had a sticker that said fake taxi. Dude, she was about to get fucked.
Hopefully consensually, because
hopefully she signed the
otherwise
paperwork. Hopefully she signed the paperwork.
Yeah, well, if she, I mean, it could just be that it could just be that she got into an Uber that has a sense of humor.
I mean, my brother
and put the fake taxi, because technically an Uber is a fake taxi.
My brother had a sticker on his FJ and it said "gay porn star," and my dad took it for a drive one time, and he didn't know the sticker was there. He was so pissed. He's like, "What the hell is this?" So my fake taxi of the week is going to be Fletcher's Love album, dude. It's gonna be a tearjerker. It's gonna have you making babies. This thing is gonna be. 5 women have been impregnated since I mentioned Fletcher's album. Let's be real.
Wow. Is that the rate? Is that the rate at which
consensually
people are being impregnated just from the musical stylings of Fletcher?
Have you heard that guy sing?
I have.
It gets me rock solid.
I'm still waiting on my feature. Like, he told me in high school 7 years ago that he'd let me.
I already have one.
I just want to sing. Like, let me sing for you, baby.
I'll
sing the Dare theme song for him.
I'm the sheesh in the end of Grandma's Porch.
I know that, but now everybody knows that.
It's embarrassing. I skip it every time. It's such poor quality.
I'm gonna play it louder now just because I know you don't like it.
Well, good. Then it's just more airtime for me.
Okay. Fletcher's album comes out on the 26th. Expect to see him on the podcast very soon. Talk about that and other shenanigans as well. But that's our boy. Make sure you check him out. Fletcher the 8th on all social media, but also it's just Fletcher on Spotify. Make sure you go check out some of his music. We wouldn't promote him if we didn't love him. He's the best local artist that I know of. But let's do My Fake Taxi, and then we'll move into Tinder Bios. Did you see the tweet that went viral the other day of the mom who's retired and is saving turtles in Texas? So I got to pull it up really quick. But basically this mom is retired, and she took a picture of the back of her like Ford Escape, and there were at least 12 big ass green sea turtles in the back of her truck.
There was not 12, there was like 30.
Because apparently when it gets cold out like that, sea turtles are paralyzed, like they can't move, and so they'll die. So she's going out and saving these turtles, and I just think, well, the turtles are taking a ride in the fake taxi.
That's your fake taxi?
Maybe a bit of a stretch, but the turtles are having a week.
That's like a full ass morning stretch and a half right there. You got that. That's a big one. I don't even know if that counts as a fake taxi.
Of course it does.
The board of fake taxi directors are going to have to talk about this one. And we all know I'm not the head of it, so I can't really say.
There's a board for that?
Hey, that lady was in the fucking board of directors in the car.
Now hear me out. Let me try to make the connection. What if some of those turtles fornicated in the back of the van? That would indeed be a fake taxi.
It's like, hold on. They're roostering in that Rari, baby?
They could have been roostering in the Rari, exactly. So
hey, Becky, quit giving Rob a Becky.
Now we're just making incessant rhymes, but yeah, I think that's all possible. So that is my fake taxi. Let's move into Tinder Bios of the week. And Cub, I have some
Do we got some goodies? Do we got some goodies?
Really interesting suitors for you.
Set the tone. Set the tone.
Allow me to set the mood. Today, we have 3 very special guests in this post-Valentine's Day episode of the Miscalled Podcast. Up first, we have Dory. She's 23. Joining her on the stage today is Toad. And Toad is 35. Lastly, and maybe most importantly, we've got Lucy. And Lucy is at the ripe age of 52. This is Tinder Bios on the Miscalled Podcast. All right.
I'm a big fan of Mario, so this is going to be fun.
All right, let's do it. Here's Dory, who's 23. I'm alone, or should I say lonely?
Mm-hmm.
I need a distraction, some friends, maybe something more. I don't know. I'm not really sure what I want. I'm pretty much just going to go with the flow. So if something happens, cool. If nothing happens, that's cool too. No expectations. I respect honesty, and we're adults. So just be upfront and tell me what you want out of this in a respectful manner, and then I'll let you know, and so on. Just don't be fake. You'll get a lot further with me if you're straightforward. Cool?
So let me just quickly sum up this bio. That was nothing. That was a whole bunch of nothing.
Dory wants you to be straightforward.
I'm being straightforward. That was a whole lot of nothing. That was just a big paragraph of, hey, let me just fill in this blank space with, hey, basically be straight up.
She did give us an emoji at the very end. She said, you'll get a lot further with me if you're straightforward. Cool. And then we got the shaka emoji, like the hang loose, bruh.
Moving on.
All right. Well,
she's not from Hawaii. She's not Kamalani Dung.
Dory has been eliminated. All right. Here's Toad, who's Toad is 33 and verified on Tinder, which worries me.
She's legitimately a toad.
Okay, she is Bali. She's poly and bi with a goddess kink. If you want my immediate attention, I'm usually on Reddit. Otherwise, I'll message you back on here ASAP. Frog emoji, kiss emoji.
She put the frog emoji?
I like boudoir photography, lingerie modeling, hiking, cooking, anything nature related, witchy shit. I'm petite, blonde, and inked. I am new to poly and dipping my toes into online dating. I'd like to talk a bit first before any potential meetups.
I mean, well, obviously.
The big thing to note about Toad is that she's into witchy shit.
You did say she put the frog emoji?
Yes, and the kiss emoji.
I like her
right
a lot
after
now. I like her a lot. She's playing to her name.
Lastly, today on the docket for you, Cubwood, is Lucy, who's 52. And Lucy says, I've learned that men have 2 emotions, hungry and horny.
Uh-huh.
If I see you without erection, I'll make you a sandwich. If you are horny, I will show you how to do some helicopter moves with unlimited volcanic squirts. Let's do what we have in mind. See my pic? If yes, then good. If you can contact me there and just say Pakang so I know you're from here. And that is verbatim Lucy's bio.
So if I match with Lucy, I gotta just instantly hit her with Pakang.
Exactly. In all caps.
Even though it says in her bio on the app to say, hey, this is where I found you, I gotta put Pakang. Like, where is your 52-year-old head at? Also,
Yeah,
she's older than my mom.
Yeah. So Lucy, who is 52, Toad, who is 33, and Dory, who's 23. I will let you deliberate.
So obviously, if I took out Lucy, I would have to obviously hit her with since it's her era. Like, hey, what are your thoughts on I Love Lucy? Right, great show back in the '60s, huh? Oh wait, you were born in 1968. Sorry, or 1969. Sorry, didn't mean to be rude and be ageist. Toad, what a woman, what a gal.
Yeah,
She's a little
witchy shit.
She's a freaky little thing. She's got that. She could put me under some spells. Maybe she'll make me taller so I can be acceptable to everyone in this world, because I'm short. I'm a short little guy. Also, fun fact, I measured my wingspan the other day. I'm 6'1".
Nice.
Right? Very nice. Let's go. Toad. Let's take home Toad. Toad. Toad
okay.
all the way.
All
Toad.
right.
Give me
All
Toad.
right. Hold on one second. Congratulations, Toad. You are the lucky winner of Cubs Heart today. That has been brought to you by Bud Light or something like that. I'm not sure. But okay, Toad is going home with Cub. Hopefully she consents to Cub's love letter that he was going to write her. And we will wrap up the show.
Love letter. Yeah, we got to wrap it up. The heat's turning on, and you're going to hear a little sizzling. You hear that?
I do. Is that the bacon that you laid down there before the show?
I haven't ate meat since Sunday, so no.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, let's wrap up the show. Thanks for tuning in. Again, if you're not already, please follow us at Call Podcast on all social media. That's Twitter and Instagram. And on YouTube, you can find us, The Missed Call Podcast. So you can watch us do our thing. On Instagram, I am Sauce Sartori. And on Instagram, Cub goes by 3COLBY. And that's the show. Thanks again for tuning in. This has been episode 133 of the Missed Call Podcast. We'll be back soon with more shit.
All I got is missed calls on my line, yeah. Never seen a pick up right on time, yeah. If I don't call back, leave me alone. Please leave a message at the tone. All I got is missed calls on my line, yeah. Never seen a pick up right on time, yeah. If I don't call back, leave me alone. Ay, please leave a message at the tone, yeah. Ay. That AT&T, yeah, never gon' answer me. Yeah. That thing you think, yeah, I'ma pull up the thing, yeah. Hey, I only get the thing, yeah. Yeah.
The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.